You're great, Lily. Come on. You're great, babe. You're great. So we're just hanging out here for a couple of minutes before we get started. And I'd like you to have a blanket on your mat. We're going to spend some time on the mat this morning. But it's actually rather, what day is it? What time is it? We're going to spend some time on our mat. So have a blanket. If you happen to have a bolster or a pillow, that would be useful today. And then a strap. Those things. I think we're just going to take a nice, easy, gentle, more, those of you that are familiar with my core and release practices, it'll be more like that. Just to kind of change it up a little bit, just to get us on our mat and get us into our bodies, get the energy flowing. Get some releasing happening a little bit later, but we'll be able to prepare plenty. Just by doing floor practice. So a blanket for your mat, a bolster or pillow, and then a strap would be great. So go ahead and get those ready. I'm going to go grab my glasses because I forgot those. And then we'll be ready to go here in a few minutes. Hopefully you all can hear me pretty good here. I was just thinking how it seems like a long time ago, the first YouTube live class that I taught, which was it 8 weeks ago? I mean, it was obviously at the beginning of the shelter in place. It's hard to believe that we've been doing this now for as long as we've been doing it. And I remember feeling a little bit in shock at first, but now it seems like it's very familiar. So hopefully it doesn't stay familiar. Hopefully it's something that we'll be able to navigate out of fairly quickly. So there's a couple of you here. That's good. So we'll get started here in a couple of minutes. So I've noticed that I've had to really be mindful of my energy level. I don't quite have the energy level that I typically have. So I don't know if that's the case with you, but I've talked to some other teachers and that's been a common theme. with us, is just not having the energy level that we have. So it's just requiring a little more attention to our bodies. And this weekend, actually, I taught on Saturday a virtual community dining meeting, and then I taught on Sunday my gentle class. And then after that, that was pretty much it. I just kind of took the days off and took it easy, because it's really easy when you're home to just be working all the time, and then just energetically still the stress of the unknown can be extremely depleting. Even if we're in a groove, like I just said, we're kind of in this groove now, that this is our normal, and things are starting to become a little more relaxed, opening up slightly, at least in California. So, but I still find that energetically, just my energy level is, I have to really be mindful of that. So with that in mind, I've been doing some, more standing practices, because when I'm teaching, because I have been enjoying doing more standing, but for tonight, it's going to be kind of more low key. We're going to stay on our mat. So do grab yourself a blanket and have it on your mat. It'll be easier to move your body with the blanket on your mat. Any blanket will do. And then a bolster or a pillow would be great. And then a strap. So if you have those three things, a strap, also you could use a towel. It doesn't have to be a fancy yoga strap. And with that in mind, let's just go ahead and ground ourselves. So we'll get started grounding. So sitting up on something, always a good idea. Have the hips a little bit higher than the knees. Bring your gaze down, or you can close your eyes as we allow ourselves to bring the attention inward and bring your awareness to your breath. So this is just a way to check in. This is how I check in, often at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, just because I want to check in with myself to see how things are going in the body, trying to identify the systems in the body and how they're performing, if they're feeling overworked or if there's some distress in there. And then I have some bedtime rituals that I'll do if I need something a little more settling. But this is a great thing to do throughout your day. So noticing the breath, let the shoulders release away from the ears, and you can allow that to happen naturally. You don't have to abruptly pull the shoulders down. You can just let the weight of the arms gently allow the shoulders to be pulled away from the ears. And then let's move a little bit forward and back. So torso is nice and long. Just begin shifting the body forward and back. And then let's go from side to side. Just giving ourselves an opportunity to be aware of our bodies as we're moving very gently, very slowly, just cultivate that awareness, and then come back to center and come forward and back again, just because it's really easy to be in these bodies and to move about in a way that is going through the motions. And it's like being in a car and going somewhere, maybe a drive that you take frequently, like going to work. And then sometimes you get there, it's like, how did I even get here? I don't even remember how I got here. So we do that all the time when we're, moving or going about our day, where we're moving in a way that we're not even really paying attention. And then just go from side to side one more time. And then come back to center and then check in with the breath. And you might have, some sensations beginning to develop in the torso, just by that gentle moving, just getting the energy flowing. It really doesn't require a lot of movement, but moving in a very specific and intentional way, we know promotes great benefit, both in yoga and Qigong, and the Qigong practices. Nice. So let's come off of let's finish grounding. Let's inhale the arms out and up. I'm getting ahead of myself. Turn the palms down, lower the hands down as we ground the front side of the body. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling, pulling up, grounding from below. Turn your palms up and gather. And then lower the hands down as we ground the back side of the body. And we'll do 1 more, just because we can. Inhale. And gather. And then we'll lower the hands as we ground right down the center channel. So grounding every area of our body. And now we'll come off of whatever we're sitting on. We're going to move it off to the side. This is my dog Riley, and he's going to have to move, although he's quite comfortable. Actually, I'll just move off to the side for him. So straighten your legs and flex the toes. Pull the toes in towards you. And then inhale the arms up towards the ceiling. So like zombie arms. Interlace your hands above your heart. Turn your palms up. Extend the hands up towards the ceiling. Now, turning the palms up might be problematic for your shoulders. So if that's the case, you'll turn the palms down and have your palms facing each other. Otherwise, palms extend up and then lower the arms above your head. Reach through your palms or through your fingertips, and then also reach out through your heels. I'm going to touch the microphone there. And we're stretching. And for some of us, we're going to have to pull the belly button down towards the spine. And then turn your palms down and then bend the elbows. Bring your arms back down by your side. And let's bend the knees. Have the knees and feet about as wide as your yoga mat. You're going to bring your arms straight out to the side. Let's all inhale together. Exhaling, lower the knees to the right and turn your gaze to the left. As you inhale, knees come to center. Exhaling, legs are going to go to the left, and now turn your gaze to the right. Just begin to open up the spine, moving very gently. Take your time. Taking your time. Moving nice and slow. You can press into the big toe side of the top foot. Press into the big toe side, and that's going to give you a nice stretch in the back. Let's do one more to either side. Good. And then when you come back up to center, if it's comfortable, hug the knees in towards the shoulders. Do a little rocking from side to side. And then we'll make our way into a very gentle, happy baby. So grab the outside of the feet. And if you can't grab the feet comfortably, you can grab the shins or the ankles and also grab the backs of the thighs. So grab what you can grab, but don't force it. Again, we don't want to be fighting postures, especially tonight, because this is going to be a little more on the gentle side, which I think is a good idea once in a while. Nicely done. So very gentle. And then bend the knees and lower your feet down on your mat. We're going to adjust the knees and feet so that they're hips distance apart. Bring your arms down by your side. And you can have the palms up if you'd like, or you can have the palms down. So I like to lift the chest. You'll almost see me do that every time, or I'm constantly doing it just to remind myself to pull the shoulders away from the ears, because it's so easy to get caught up in the shoulder girdle and they're pushing up towards the ear almost all the time for a lot of us. We're going to move the spine in what's called spinal undulation, which is like a cat-cow on your back. The move is not quite as big as a cat-cow on all fours, so do the best you can. So as you inhale, I'm just going to use my hand here to demonstrate the space I'm creating. You might not be able to see it. I'm lifting my heart up, and I'm creating space underneath my back so I can slide my hand underneath. And on the exhale, you're going to flatten your back. That I think is a little easier to see. Inhale, heart lifts. And exhale, flatten. Now, do this at your own pace. You can press into the balls of the feet as you lift the heart and press into your heels as you flatten. Moving at your own pace, feel it the whole way. And if you feel any creakiness or any sensations in the back that don't feel like sensations that are supposed to be happening, which can happen, then move a little slower. Engage the belly a little, even on the inhale when the heart lifts, and that will help protect your back. So what's interesting is that we can have a very different experience with this spinal undulation on the floor versus when we're doing it on all fours. It's just different, even though the movement is essentially the same. I'm not sure why that is. So do a couple more. Probably just the way gravity is holding, because when we're on our all fours, the belly is the lowest point of the movement. And then come back to center. And then just notice. So there a little bit of engagement in the legs as we're using the legs to help the momentum of the torso. So you might have a little sensation in the legs. You might have a little aliveness in the torso and the abdomen, which is what we're looking for. And now, we're kind of opening up the central part of the body, and we want to do that because the central nervous system grows out of the spine, and so we want to be make sure that the communication is awake and open and flowing freely. So we're going to get into the side body just to make sure that we're extending, creating all the space in the torso that we can on our back. So interlace your hands behind your head and have the elbows go wide, and accentuate that by pressing the elbows into the floor and squeeze the shoulder blades together. So the arms are active, and actively press the feet into the floor. See if that's even possible, and it may not be. And then soften the muscles in the face. Be careful not to clench your jaw here. It's very easy when we're tensing parts of the body. The jaw just wants to jump in and play, so not necessary. And then soften the effort a little bit so that the muscles aren't engaged. And then turn your head so that you're looking at your left elbow. So you're looking at your left elbow, and then slide the left elbow up. The left elbow is up, which allows you to create space in this left side of the body. This is why having a blanket on the mat is helpful. And take a couple of breaths here just so you can feel the breath from this shape. It will likely be going to the left side of the body. That's the place where we're creating space, so it will naturally want to go there. And then come to center. So bring the elbows back to center and your gaze up towards your ceiling. Turn your gaze to the right and slide the right elbow up. Now you might have to lift your head and shoulders up slightly in order to access that. And then you're going to move from side to side. You'll inhale to center and then exhale as you lift the elbow up, and then just go from side to side. And you might be able to go a little deeper each time you do this. Nicely done. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And then come back to center. We'll do that same movement again, but we're going to add the legs in. So look at your left elbow and just be mindful, because it's really easy to get this one wrong or to do it in a way that's not the intention of what we're doing here. So slide the left elbow up. So left elbow is up, and drop your legs over to the right. Yes, press that left elbow down as you press into your left big toe. It's going to help create all kinds of space in the torso. On the inhale, soften the effort in the arms as you bring everything back to neutral. Look at your right elbow, slide the right elbow up. Yes, now we're going to bring the legs over to the left. So press the big toe of the right foot. So you can see that the legs are going to go one way, the opposite of the elbow that's sliding up. And then inhale everything back to center, and then we'll just alternate sides now. So take your time, move in a way that feels appropriate and authentic to your body. Take your time. Moving with the breath is always a good idea if that's available to you. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then come back up to center. You can release your arms down by your side and let the legs go long. And just to give yourself an opportunity to pause and notice. So check in with the arms, check in with the legs. You might even have a little sensation in the neck as we were moving the head from side to side. So just becoming aware of any sensations that are presenting themselves to you. And let's inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, and inhale, and exhale. And one more time, inhale, and exhale. Good, so let's open the hips a little more. Bend your left knee and come into a figure 4. So left knee is bent, right knee is bent, right ankle is on left thigh. Some of us will stay here. Some of us will pull the left knee in towards the left shoulder. Now, I like to keep the feet flexed here. You certainly don't have to, but I'm a fan of it. There was a thinking that, this would protect the knee. I actually think it kind of does protect the knee because it's engaging the tissues. But in the anatomy world, that idea is changing. But I do know that when you flex, you can feel the tension a little bit more. You can feel the sensation in the knee. And I think that that's useful. So always your choice. So now you see, I don't have my hands engaged here in the leg. I'm not supporting it. I'm pushing the left thigh into the back of the right ankle, and then push the back of the right ankle into the top of the left thigh. And this is going to create some action, muscular energy. And then see if you can keep the right foot towards you. Pull that right foot in as you extend the left leg long. And then inhale, pulling the left knee in. Now, if you feel like this is an issue with your low back, you're going to slide the hands underneath your pelvis, which is what I'm doing, because I know on this side, my back's a little compromised today. So this feels more supportive, and it's still going to work the target area just fine. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And then the next time the left knee comes in, just land the left foot. You're going to land the right foot. Just pause for a moment. Checking in here before we change sides. And then let's go ahead and change sides, crossing the left ankle on top of the right thigh. You can stay here, or you're going to push the right knee towards the right shoulder, keeping the feet flexed on both legs and actively pushing the outside of the left foot into the top of the right thigh. So you're resisting. This is going to warm up the legs for us a little bit quicker. And then extend the right leg long as you keep the left foot in, and then supporting your back if you feel like the back needs a little support, because this can be vulnerable for the back. Good. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll lower the right foot down. We're going to lower the left foot down. So adjusting the knees and feet so they're hips distance apart. And once again, we're going to interlace the hands behind the head. And now we're going to combine the spinal undulation with a twist. So with the arms out to the side, and we're going to do, it's like an old-fashioned sit-up and then a twist. So on the inhale, the heart lifts just like we did earlier. So now I have that space behind my back once again. On the exhale, you're going to flatten. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, flatten. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, flatten. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, you're going to pull the head and shoulders up. Be careful not to pull on the neck and squeeze the elbows together. Inhale, open the elbows wide, lower the arms, lift your heart. Exhale, like an old-fashioned sit-up. Inhale, we open, heart lifts. And then exhale, crunch. And then inhale, heart lifts. This time we're going to crunch. Maybe we come into a twist. And then inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, twisting the other side. And then moving at your own pace, coming into your twist. Inhale, lifting and twisting. You can always vary the degree in which you're twisting to. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then we'll come back down. You're going to release your arms down by your side, and we're going to work the legs a little bit more. So slide the feet together, but the bottoms of the feet are still on your mat, but the inside, the big toes of the feet are still together. And what I'd like you to do is isometrically, we're just going to work on one leg at a time. So we're going to work on the right leg. So the left leg isn't doing anything but staying still. You can take your right hand on the outside of your right thigh and gently push into the right hand, but resist with your hand so you're preventing the leg to just drop out to the side. So there's some isometric intention here. And take about 10 to 15 seconds to get the leg all the way out to the right. And then put your hand on the inside and then pull that knee up to center. And do this a few times on your own. So we're working the legs here. Now, if you've worked your legs really hard today, then maybe you don't want to work the legs so hard right now. This is for people who maybe haven't worked the legs so hard today. So if you did if it was a leg day, then, take it easy. If you feel any cramping that is alarming in the hip, then you're going to stop. So some people will stop after 2 or 3. We'll do one more. Good. And then pausing and just noticing that right leg might feel a little more awake. And we'll go to the other side. So actively pressing the left leg out to the side. Hand on the inside, pull up. And then take your time. About 10 seconds or so. Good. Maybe one more. And the next time it comes up to center, let's hug the knees in. Do a little rocking from side to side. And then come back to center, maybe coming back into a happy baby. You can always have the knees hugged in if you can't grab your feet or your shins or your thighs. Always your choice. Always your choice. And then let's release the feet down towards the floor and cross your right thigh on top of the left thigh. So right thigh on top of the left thigh. And then extend the arms up towards the ceiling like zombie arms and bend the elbows and stack the hands on the elbows. So we have now typewriter arms and the forearms are right above the heart. And we'll all inhale together. Exhale, legs go left, arms go right. Now this could be a pretty big move on the spine, so just be mindful. Inhale, everything comes back to center. Let's stay moving to the left. Exhale, legs go left, arms go right. Stay with the legs going to the left. And inhale back to center. And then exhaling, going to the left. So we're doing a lot of twisting tonight, a lot of wringing out the spine. Extremely useful. For sitting a lot, which is what a lot of us are doing. And we'll come back up to center. And then the next time you come back up, instead of dropping the legs to the left, bring the legs over to the right and the arms to the left. And inhale back to center. Exhale, legs go right, arms go left. Take your time here. Take your time. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll come back to center. You'll unwind the legs and you restack the left leg on top of the right thigh. So left leg on top of the right, and then unstack the arms and restack them the other way, just to balance things out. And we'll all inhale here. Exhale, legs go right, arms go left. Inhale, everything comes back to center. Exhale, legs go right, arms go left. And then moving with your breath. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll go the other way. So on the exhale, legs go left, arms go right. Inhale, everything comes back to center. Exhale, legs go left, arms go right. And then moving with your breath, take your time. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then come back to center. Let's go ahead and unwind the legs. Let's extend the legs long. Arms by your side and just check in. So see how things are feeling. Just notice what there is to notice here. And let's all inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And inhale. Exhale. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. And then let's have the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. We're going to interlace our hands behind our head. And then we're going to bring that move we did earlier, we're going to bring it all together. So in the inhale, the heart lifts. Exhale, bring the knees together, bring the elbows together. Inhale, open knees, open elbows like butterfly wings. Exhale, close the knees and close the elbows. And moving with your breath. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then we'll come back down and let's bend the knees, have the feet on the floor. And here's where we're going to grab a pillow or a blanket, or if you have a block even, because I'd like us to just stretch out the belly a little bit, stretch out the psoas. So lift your hips up and slide something, whatever you have nearby here. It could be a book, it could be a pillow, it could be a blanket, it could be a couple of blankets. And some of us could stay here with the knees bent, or you're going to extend the legs long. And if you notice, I have my feet flexed because I want to keep my sacrum stable. And if I let the legs relax and the feet, they're going to flop either out to the side. Most of us, they'll flop out to the side. And we want to keep the sacrum stable. Arms can be by your side, but if there's space above your head and if your shoulders can accommodate, arms can go above your head. I like grasping the elbows above my head. And if you find at any time this becomes not available to the shoulders or available to anything, then you're going to release your arms down by your side. Otherwise, we're getting a nice lengthening. The psoas muscle is so long that straightening the legs only lengthens half of it. So we need to have the arms coming up to lengthen the other half. And I like doing a more passive stretching, a more yin type stretching, because that gets into the connective tissue. Although the psoas doesn't have as much connective tissue as other muscles have. It's a little softer, it's less fatty, less fascia. It's a very lean muscle. Now, if at any time this bothers your back, you can move into this bent knee position and just give yourself a break. And then if you feel like you can re-extend the legs, you can do that. So just check in and make sure that whatever you're doing it in a way that is supportive to your back. Good. Just a few more breaths. Nice and easy, nice and gentle. Just staying on the floor tonight.
And then when you're ready, you can release the arms, bend your knees, lift the hips up. Release the block off to the side, and then lower the hips back down. Bring your feet a little wider than the hips. Let's do a little integration. Windshield wipering the knees from side to side. And then once again, hug the knees in. And then release that effort, and we're going to grab our strap or your towel or whatever you have available to you. This is something that we do in class, so let's do it here just because we can. So have the strap on the bottom of your right foot and have the right foot extended up towards the ceiling, and then slide the strap or the towel from side to side up and down the bottom of your foot. I just gave myself a pedicure today, which was quite nice. I was in denial that I was going to be able to get one, and it just it was not happening. So I broke down and gave myself one, and it was great. And then find a place on your foot where you can resist. Pull the strap into the foot, push the foot into the strap, maybe pull your foot a little closer to your head if you have the capacity to do so. But for some of us, holding the leg straight up is going to be enough, because if you have a tight hamstring, you likely have a tight back. And sometimes it takes everything you have to just keep the leg extended. And you might even feel the leg shaking already, which is, we like shaking here. So that's not a bad thing. It's just your body's fatigued really quickly because the tightness is causing the leg to work harder. Nicely done. So really resist, pull the strap into the foot, push the foot into the strap, because we want the leg tired. We want the leg tired because we want the leg to tremor easily. And now we're going to either keep the leg extended. So some of you might keep this leg up. Some of us might bend the knee and move into what I call a half happy baby, where the bottom of the foot is still parallel with the ceiling. The right knee's coming down towards the right rib, and then push the foot up towards the ceiling. So bending and straightening. And you might even feel little quivers as the leg begins to fatigue even further. Little releases. What's happening there? Little micro releases. And then the next time the leg straightens, just keep the leg extended. Maybe bring your left arm out to the side, and then slowly lower the right leg out to the right. And make sure that you're able to support your leg with the strap. Make sure the leg isn't kerplunking out, just dropping on you. That's hard on the hip. So I always like to remind people of that, because sometimes it happens and we don't even realize it's happening. So just keep complete awareness with the movement. I love these Apple Watches, but sometimes they don't tell me what time it is. I'll put my hand up. I have to do it just right to get enough action so it realizes I moved. And then bring the foot back up. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and change the strap over to the other foot and lower the right foot down to the floor. We'll start that flossing business by sliding the strap from side to side. This keeps the feet awake. And then we'll make our way towards a place where we can resist. Pull the strap into the foot, push the foot into the strap. Some of us might be able to pull the foot a little closer to the head. So that's always an option. Keeping that resistance. And then when you're ready, you're going to bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Keeping that resistance. And then the next time the leg extends, we're going to slowly move the left leg out to the left. Take your time. Just working the leg a little more. And then as you're ready, bring the left foot back up and then release your strap and move the strap off to the side. And let's extend the legs long again just so we can experience the residual effects of one of my favorite things to do. That's one of the best things you can do for your back. If you have back issues, if you have disc issues, that's one of the best things you can do. It's something I try to do often. I'd like to say I did it every day if I was disciplined enough to do that, but I don't do it every day, but I do it multiple times a week. And I can always tell you that when I do it, things work better. Pretty easy. And then as you're ready, you're going to bend your knees, raise one arm above your head, roll onto your side, and then make your way onto your belly. While I negotiate around my dog who has taken over my mat, but that's okay. So have your forehead resting on the back of your hands. Tops of the feet are going to be on your mat. And just shift the hips from side to side. And then as you're ready, let's just do a little bit of back bending. But before we do that, extend the fingers long and grip the floor with the fingertips. Tuck all 10 toes. Anchor your pelvis if that's comfortable for your pelvis. For some people, that's not a thing. So you can try it. If it doesn't work, don't worry about it. And then resist with the fingertips. Push back with your heels. Lift out through the top of the head. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. Release the tops of the feet onto your mat. Take your hands and place your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck the elbows in towards the ribs a little bit. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. With your fingertips and the tops of the feet pressed in the floor and the pelvis once again anchored, you're going to pull yourself up with the fingertips, lifting the heart up. Exhale, you're going to lower back down. So keep the toes rooted. If the feet start to lift, inhale, lift, then don't come up as high because that's going to compromise your lumbar. It's going to take it basically into the lumbar. So lifting, and we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then lower back down. As you're ready, push yourself up and back and come into a child's pose. So sitting back on your heels, lower the forehead down. You can stack your hands if your forehead can't touch something easily. And then just breathe. Send the breath into the low back area. And then as you're ready, let's make our way onto all fours. So let's tuck the toes for our purposes today. Knees are going to go underneath your hips and wrists are going to go underneath the shoulders. And let the torso collapse like a lazy cow. So this is a flat back. Torso collapses. Roll the right ribs to the right. Round your back like a Halloween cat. Left ribs to the left. And just begin to make this nice big barrel roll circle of the torso. And then if you want, you can change the direction and then you can move fluidly. You can change the direction. You can send the hips back. Always your choice. Or maybe rolling the hips in a circle. Basically getting into areas that we just aren't able to access with traditional movement. It's just a little bit of a free flow. It's really good for the connective tissue. And our psoas muscle really likes this too. There's a whole modality on this called continuum movement, which really does emphasize the psoas muscle and its importance to be fluid and its relationship to our primal primal source, right? Our primal self, and how it likes fluidity and doesn't want to move very mechanical. It loves this type of movement. It's very primal and it's very natural. And then go ahead and finish up. And then let's come to a seat just for a moment. And let's start by hugging the knees in towards the shoulders. Press your feet into the floor. Lift out through the top of the head. Getting some length back in the spine. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together. Have the knees go wide. And we can start doing a couple of things here. Let's bring the fingers behind us and make sure the spine is nice and long. And then if this feels pretty comfortable for you, you can bring the hands forward and slide the hands underneath kind of the ankle shin area, lifting out through the top of the head. And the legs are active, so see if it's comfortable for the hips, because if you have tight hips, this is going to be a bear. But if it's comfortable, you're going to press the knees towards your mat, and you're still lifting out through the top of the head. Mm-hmm. Good. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And then release that effort. And we're going to make our way onto our backs. So what I invite you to do, and I'm going to try to do this here. I'm really happy that I have to demonstrate. It's okay, bud. It's okay. I need to get this. I'm going to pull this blanket. Stay there. Just need to pull this blanket. And we're going to fold it in half, just so you can have your feet on the sticky mat. Yeah. He was like, Mom, I was so comfortable. And I wouldn't have moved him if I didn't have to. But because I have to demonstrate, I had no choice. So you're going to make your way back onto your back. And he's like, hey, man, you took all the blanket. Soles of the feet together, knees wide. Arms by your side. And then just come into a Baddha Konasana. The soles of the feet together, knees wide. And settle in here. Find your breath. And then from here, we're going to lift the hips up. So press the feet into the floor, keep the soles of the feet together, and lift your hips up. As you see here, hips are lifted nice and high. My legs are starting to move as we transition into the tremor. My legs are really happy to go there today. They went there very quickly, right upon lifting. Now, some of us, it might take a moment or two for any movement to occur. But whatever movement's happening, we know that it's involuntary. We're not doing this by ourselves, or intentionally rather. So keep those hips lifted. I'm going to lower mine down because I know my legs are ready. I don't have to do much more, but you're going to keep your hips lifted, especially if you're newer to the practice. And if it's uncomfortable to lift in that way, put the bottoms of the feet on the floor, but keep the knees wider than the hips and lift. It's more of a traditional bridge, but with the feet closer together. So they're touching, but the bottoms of the feet will be on the floor. And this also can be very effective. So depending on backs are tricky. So we never know when our back's going to appreciate. And then if you feel like you need a break, you're going to lower down and just pause. I'm just going to pause. But if you can keep them lifted, we'll be here for about another 30 seconds. So you can lift soles of the feet together or bottoms of the feet on the floor, soles of the feet together. You can see how it makes a big difference for me. The soles of the feet together, I get a lot more action. And we're just turning the switch on for the neurogenic tremors in our body, which is the part of the body that allows tension or stressors to relieve the body. Super cool. Good. A few more breaths. And then lower down. Put the soles of the feet together. Maybe have the feet a little closer to your pelvis, or maybe not. You can decide. Arms are going to be by your side, very neutral. Knees are as wide as they can go. Knees are as wide as they can go. Let's inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And then from here, just close the knees a couple of inches. So just close them a little bit. So we want to engage muscular energy so that we're intentionally holding the legs like this, right? We're intentionally holding the legs like this. And you might feel shaking, you might see shaking, so you might be able to see the shaking that's occurring with me. You may not be seeing this in your body. It's very different for every person. Everyone's expression of this modality is unique to them, unique to you based on your life experience and how your body chooses to express in this way. This is your body's intelligence. Your body's intelligence's way of releasing tension in the body, releasing stress in the body. Let's inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Close the knees a little more. When you close the knees a little more, they might really start rocking and rolling. I'm going to put the bottoms of my feet on the floor because I know that my body prefers that. Most people keep the soles of the feet together just because the tremors will stay more active with the soles of the feet together for most people. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Yeah, so just staying here. We're going to be here for a little bit, and you can now, in a little bit, we're going to just explore movement in the legs, so closing them a little bit more. You can always straighten the legs and take a break if you want to. It's always an option. And then you come back to where you left off. Just let the body go there. And then it won't take very long for most people for the tremors to re-engage. And you can always stop if you want to by extending the legs long. So that's always an option, letting the legs go long. And then you can always come into final rest by just coming into Shavasana. So always your choice. Arms are neutral. They're not really doing much of anything. They're just neutral. And that way, if the tremors or the energy wants to move up the spine, which is a common theme, I'd say, the energy moves up the spine. You may not feel the energy moving, but often people feel it at the end of practice when we stop moving because the shaking can be pretty distracting. So it's when we're in final rest that people will begin to feel the tremors as the energy rather, as it begins to dynamically continue to move up and down the body. And let's inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. So you guys stay shaking. I'm going to stop just because I want to be focused and I can feel myself just going off in my practice here, because this can, it really should be a practice that you're just experiencing and not try to teach while you're doing it. So I'm going to make my way out of it. You guys stay in it. And anytime you want to do a cleansing breath, like I've suggested, you're welcome to do that anytime. It's super useful because it allows the energy to continue to move. So now you can move the legs to a place where, you might want to close them a little more or explore the tremors from movement. So sometimes people will move the legs a little bit closer and they'll feel the shaking get a little more, satisfying. Because, the more shaking isn't necessarily better, but some people feel more satisfied by that. So, but it's just nice to explore and see where the tremors go. If the bottoms of the feet are on the floor, you could even try to press the feet into the floor. Sometimes that can move the energy a little bit. So it's really an energetic movement more than, we care more about the energy just flowing than we care about what's shaking or what's not shaking, because energy is moving and it's just moving in a different way. As a matter of fact, for some people, the modality will express in a way of emotional release. So people start laughing, people start crying, all kinds of different ways to express. Sometimes people get really warm. I know that when I was just releasing, I was feeling myself getting really warm. And that can be really a common, the body gets really, it can be very dynamic. So that can create heat in the body. So lots of different ways people can release. And so, taking a break if you need to. We'll be here probably for maybe just another minute or so, not too much longer. And since we're finishing up here, I just want to remind you that this particular practice, it's really easy to be done. Okay, we're in Shavasana and I'm done. I've been here long enough. I'm going to get up and go about my evening. But this modality, it's really useful to let the body settle down, because the nervous system, we've really got it activated. And we're having this flushing out, this resetting of the nervous system. And if you get up and start moving around, then, it just might not feel grounded, and might feel a little cloudy or a little foggy. So the resting is really important for your body, just to let your body settle down. So finishing up here. And then as you're ready, go ahead and extend the legs long and begin to allow the tremors to subside. So circle the feet, circle the ankles. You can extend the arms up, but move in a way that's a little dynamic, because dynamic movement is what allows the tremors to subside. That dynamic movement allows the tremors to subside. And then once you feel like the tremors have subsided, then you can move into your final rest. And so a couple of options for final rest would be on your back in traditional Shavasana, which can be quite nice. Or you can move into a side lying posture with a blanket or a pillow or a bolster between your knees. And either one of those or any of those work really well. The side lying is nice because it allows the nervous system to settle down a little bit. And let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. And 1 more. Inhale and exhale. And if you guys out there know of any dog groomers that are doing business, my dog is in desperate need of being groomed, like a shaggy dog. So if you know of anyone, send me an email. I'd appreciate that. And then settle into your final rest, just settling in. And just be aware of any energy that might still be flowing in the body. So you might feel a tingling or pulsation or like an electrical current running through the body. That can be quite normal. Humming, like really pronounced sensation. I'd say almost like a humming or vibration, electrical current. That's probably the way I would describe it. And that's your body still releasing. So know that as you move about for the next little while after you get up, just go about your evening, take your time, get some water, get some food. Things will settle down. Notice your dreams tonight. Sometimes people have really vivid dreams. If you have vivid dreams or an experience that you want to share with me, I would love to hear about people's experiences. And they can be something really subtle. Like my personal experience was I was doing a lot of practicing because I was becoming a teacher. I was going to be able to teach this modality. So they required us to do the practice every day for 30 days and lots of other things. And we had to document and journal. And I remember I was engaging in what could have been an argument, but it really wasn't an argument. But the person I was talking to really wanted it to be an argument. And they said, you're really angry. And I sat for a minute and I thought, no, actually, I'm not angry. And I wasn't. And I felt really calm. I felt a sense of peace. And that is something that happens. And if you don't pay attention, you'll miss it. It kind of just goes like that. So notice over the next day, if there's a situation that might be a little more irritating, or usually it triggers you, and maybe in a way it just doesn't as much, or there's just a sense of peace around it. That's what this practice can do. And that's why I keep recommending, not because I teach it, and there's not many of us that teach weekly classes that are certified. I know there are people that do tremoring, but those of us that have studied it and are certified, I don't know of anyone who is doing a regular class that has been doing it as long as I have with thousands of people, other than workshops. I'm the only one that's doing a weekly class. So just from my experience in working with people, really interesting, unique experiences. So send them to me if that happens to you. I'd love to hear about it. So I'm going to let you just rest here for a couple more minutes and quietly, just so you can sit with yourself. And I'll call you back in about 2 minutes. Begin to lengthen your breath. As you're ready, invite movement back into your body. You're going to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, circle your ankles and your wrists. If you're on your side, stay where you are. If you're on your back, you're going to bend your knees, hug your knees in towards your shoulders. Give yourself a hug. And then when you're ready, you can raise one arm above your head and roll onto your side. Meeting others who are already there waiting. And we'll all pause on our side, just resting for a moment,
doing a final check-in, checking the heart, checking the breath, just noticing what arises here. And then when you're ready, take your time and make your way to a seat as you're ready. Let's bring our arms out to the sides with the palms facing up. And as you inhale, bring your arms out and up, palms touch above your head. Exhale, you're going to lower the hands down in front of your heart and onto the mudra of gratitude. I want to thank you all so much for showing up tonight and sharing practice with me. I'm grateful that you all show up. I'm doing this community class for a while now, until we're done. Community class, so it's a pay what you can, or if you can't pay, don't worry about it. It's all good. You can just enjoy the practice. I really want to expose the practice, especially this particular practice, to as many people as possible because I think it's extremely useful. So I want to thank you so much for coming and for hanging out with me and my dog Riley, who, as you can tell, is getting really comfortable coming to my yoga classes. So thanks again. And if you have any questions, just drop me an email. You can drop some comments down below. Once this gets posted, I think it takes a few minutes to get posted. And then I look forward to seeing you all next time. I'll be teaching again Wednesday morning through Breathe, so it'll be through Zoom. So you have to register at Breathe Together Yoga. And then I teach at 10:30, and then Friday Restorative Yoga through Breathe. Sunday Gentle at noon through Breathe. So look forward to seeing you again. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. Namaste.